What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with another team reveal on the precipice of the AFL season, or round one really, the precipice of the fantasy supercoach bolter season. But we are back with round one, so we're going to jump in and do a bit of a team reveal. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. If you haven't seen, I've done a Supercoach team reveal, but if you have seen that, you won't be surprised by some of the names. But without any further ado, let's jump in and get it going. So as you can see, we have cleared the team the same way we did it in the Supercoach. And I approach this the exact same way that I approach my Supercoach team. I don't want to miss out on players, so we're going to start with them. Now, when it comes to picking our team, I think we'll just start in the defensive line. And I'm going to add in some names that I don't want to miss out on. The king of those, the same as Supercoach, is going to be Nicky Daicos. Now, Nick Daicos is someone that I thought about fading. I was worried about the Finn McGuinness tag, and I was thinking about all of these plans that we probably could have had to bring him in after it and whatnot. But I just think that we're banking on this bloke not being who he's shown us to be. And when you see it, you just got to believe it sometimes. So I am 100% comfortable bringing him in with that Finn tag inbound. Who knows what happens? We'll just let it happen. But it might not even come. He might not be named. I mean, Sam Mitchell would have to be crazy not to do it. But we'll roll the dice and we'll go from there. Now, that's going to have some impact, obviously, down the line. But Nick Daicos is number one. For number two, we got to go down to Harry Sheezel. He has shown time again that he can get it done from that half-back flank. I mean, there's been talks of him playing more mid and then mid-forward, but with the bringing the people they've brought in, your addition of Dersma, that sort of thing, I think the prospect of him playing forward is probably not there. So if he was going to move anywhere from that half-back flank, it's going to be to the midfield, and I just think that he and Zach Fisher are going to absolutely feast there. We've seen what Zeeble and Hall were able to do. We saw what Sheezel was able to do last year, and I just think it's going to be more of the same. It'll be Sheezel and Fisher racking it up off the halfback. We know the ball's going to be down there a fair bit. This is where it kind of got a bit interesting for me. And I might skip him just to start with, but I actually want to add in here Hayden Young. Now, Hayden Young for me is a player who I've loved for years. He's actually who my fantasy team is named after, and my Supercoach one, and a big fan of this kid. And his move into the midfield, I think, is going to add something really nice to Freo's rotation. They look like they're going to keep it pretty tight with Fife, Young, Sarong, and Brayshaw all in there. Brayshaw probably being the one that gets kicked outside. If Young does have to go back, he's shown that he can get some scoring there. And I think from a worthwhile average standpoint, he's a good, safe pick. Young is my number 3. He's actually my number 4, though, because I did have in here Mr. Elliot Yeo. Now, Elliot Yeo was in my team probably up to just after round 0, when I watched the person who I'm going to bring in for him absolutely rack it up. And that person is Mr. Lachie Whitfield. Now, Lachie Whitfield is an absolute stud, and I think the scoring that he had just shows that you've got to start him. The cash gen that he's going to generate, he probably got 40k easy, and I don't want to miss out on that 40k. I also am a bit worried about Yoey's, I guess, durability, as we all are. We know that, banked on him last season probably didn't come through in the way that we wanted. So I'm comfortable getting rid of Yeo. And the reason I had Yeo to start with was that I wanted to take him for the first 6 rounds and turn him into Daicos. I'm starting Daicos now. I don't need Yeo. So sorry, Elliot, but out you go, mate. Let's move Lachie Whitfield into that number 3 position. Young down into 4. Now, D5 for me. I am going to play a rookie on field. So we're going to go with Zachy Williams at this spot. I did flirt with the idea of having Williams here and having a Butterick. Where is he? Butterick. Connor Butterick. I think this guy is going to be an absolute jet. But what I'm actually thinking is I'm going to monitor him through the first couple rounds. And if he tears it up, I'll have to bring him in rather than starting with him. So we'll just wait and see what happens with him. But Zach Williams, I think I love what I saw in round 0. That first half was delicious. We know what he's done before. And I think coming back in, priced at 442, he doesn't have to score much. in order to be a good pick. So I think we're comfortable going with him there. I am going to go with... I was thinking Caulfield, to be honest, at my D6 position, and I might leave him there to start with, and we'll see how we go cash-wise if I'm making any changes. I went Howes and Reed. Now, I love Zachy Reed. I think he's had some challenges from a health standpoint in his short-term career, but definitely a great player. And for me, these are the two that I was kind of looking at. I actually wanted Howes on the field here. So we might put Howes on the field. And then I was flirting with the idea of having a Phillips instead of Caulfield. So we'll add the rest of the team in, and then we'll see if we run out of cash. And if we do, we'll come back to a Caulfield and get rid of him. Now, my M1, I am going budget here. I have spent a bit of money in that back line. I'm looking for value. I'm trying to focus on value this year. But one player I do not want to miss out on is Zachy Butters. Now, I know that there was a concern with the ankle roll in the preseason game, and I'm aware of that. But what I also think is that he is going to come back firing. He had 5 games where he wasn't in the middle, and I don't really want to start with an Oliver, a Bont, a Dawson, a Merritt. Goulden I was a little hot on, but I just don't think that you can do it. So, I don't know. We'll see. But we're going there. We do have a Lockie Whitfield in here, so this spot was a green. It's no longer a green. It is a Jack Steele. So we got M1, M2, Butters, and Steele. We then step on into a little bit more of our value picks. I think Jack Steele is value himself. I don't want to really start with anyone over 900k. I really want to go value. I'm trying to bring to life Selby's principles here, and really just make sure that we're doing a great job in getting some value there. So for me, Jack Steele. We then are going to add in all of our value players. So we've got Nick Martin. I think we've talked about what Sheasel did off the halfback. Nick Martin's got that same potential with the Essendon team getting him the ball, and I'm very excited for that. We have a Wines, who I think that move back into the middle, a full preseason, healthy. He's going to be an absolute jet. We're going a Amon, and I am going a Crouch. Now I can hear it. I hear you. You're saying this is too many of these kind of players, all in the middle. Oh, that hadn't added Crouch. So Matt Crouch in there. Now I do understand that it is a lot of value players in the middle there, and they're not all going to come off. But what I am looking to do is have them there and move off the ones that aren't doing well, and maybe look at some of that value that's coming through. Maybe the bolter that we didn't see. I will set a field of the first 3 rounds, if you will. But I think Matt Crouch has showed enough where Adelaide were doing well to have him in there. Carl Amon, I'm interested to see what that role is. And with the ability for the DPP, he's someone that I can flick back, and that's an immediate top 6. Same thing with Nick Martin. So they're kind of 2 DPP plays that I'm thinking. Wines, I've spoken about. I think that time, bulk mid-clock is going to help him. No more messing about on the wing. And one thing I really like about Ken Hinkley and Port is that they've got a good run, but when Ken Hinkley says he's going to do something, he does it. And he said that Wines is going to be in the middle. That obviously takes us into now our rookies in here. So no surprises. We're going with Sanders. Not Flanders, Sanders. And we're going to go with Colby McKercher as well. That halfback for North Melbourne, I think, is tasty, and it's going to be plenty of value. In here, we're going to go with Roberts as our first bench rookie, and actually, he might be a fieldable play. What he did for Sydney, I think, was tremendous, and I think there's a lot of value there. So, absolutely, Matty Roberts, especially with his break-even, you can't not have him. And then in here, the last spot is going to be taken up by Jai Clark. Now, I think these guys have been talked about to death, but Clark is an absolute must-have. You might be saying, where's Sharp? Sharp was someone that I did have on my field when I was going a 3 rookie setup, but kind of gone more for that value play at the moment, and so that's meant that Sharp is not in my midfield. I also was concerned that he had that practice match where he copped the knock to the knee, so not ideal there, but that's all right. He actually is going to come down probably into my utility spot later, but we'll see how we go. Let's move on into the ruck line now. And this is where it gets interesting. So no one should be going Marshall and English. If you are, that is just bulk cash that you are wasting. We did have Darcy out, which meant that everyone is going Luke Jackson in the forward line. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people are. I just don't see that being a play for me. So not looking at that. I think we come to Max Gawn here. Look, he didn't put up the best performance in that round 0 against Grundy, who is going to be my number 2. Where are you, Brody? Thank you very much. I was tossing up between Grundy and Jerry, but I think Grundy, with his scoring, what he demonstrated, he has to be in my team. He was amazing to the eye, and his fantasy score came through as well. For me, at R3, I did have Naismith. I didn't have Naismith. I am actually going with a Harry Barnett. I like the idea of the ruck forward combo, but what I really like, and this is what Calvin pointed out on the traders, he has a lot of Sunday games, so great opportunity to loop here. And look, if he gets a game, he gets a game, and that's fantastic. But for me, Maxi Gawn and Grundy are where I am looking. I did think about, from a team aspect, making this a Sherry, because of the value that Sherry produces. But for me, I just like what Max did, and I like the idea that he's going to be probably banging on that top 2, if not locking down that 3rd place. So for me, we have to sit in here with a Maxi Gawn. Also, his preseason was phenomenal. His preseason game, with the unofficial stats, he lit it up. So I think for me, Maxi Gawn. Somebody keep an eye on. I did see a post on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, about they were looking at his knee, and that's where his scoring really slowed down. So might be a bit of a watch to see if Gawn does have an issue there, or if there's any concerns. But for me, he's straight in my team. Now we come down into the forward line, where I think it gets a little interesting. McRae was obviously probably one of the first locked in my team, and then he was out. I had Bailey Smith. He was intended to be first locked in my team. He was out. Not interested in a Martin or a Daniel. I am flirting with the idea of Flanders, and I'm going to lock him in there. I think he did enough in his game to show us that he's going to be a pick that we can rely on. So for me, Sammy Flanders is in there, but he's one that I'm not 100% confident on. So I kind of am just taking a punt on it. I don't want to go a Luke Jackson. I think all of this hype about Jackson is so overdone. Sure, when Darcy's not in the team, he scores well. But the stretch that people focus on is against subpar ruckmen. They're not the best. They're not the latest and greatest. They were second-rate ruckmen that he did all of that work against. So I'm just not sure that you can do it personally. But if you're up for it, give it a crack. It looks like he might be out for between 3 to 4 or 6 weeks, depending on who you're following in there. For me, next pick has to be the Fish. We're going with Zach Fisher down in this forward line here. Spoke about Sheasel earlier, Colby McKercher as well. I think Fish looked good. He's definitely going to outscore his price stat figure, and that for me, it means that he has to be a lock. Look, durability-wise, that's been a concern. Obviously, he's had 2 hamstring concerns in the preseason, so not the most secure pick. And if you look at my team, I do have a few not really, how do you say, robust players, although kicking Yowie out probably helps. So we'll just have to monitor it. But I think while we've got him, we need to pick him. The other person that we'll be picking in the 4th spot is going to be James Jordan. Now, I know with Luke Parker's injury, with Taylor Adams out, there's gaps there. The one thing that I don't like about James Jordan is that he plays for Horse, and Horse is the original Bevo. He will move your players around like no tomorrow. You might have noticed I don't have a Heaney, and that's because I just do not think that Heaney is going to be the midfield player that everyone is going on about. he might be making the cash, and that's why I've gone with a Whitfield, but I just can't do it. I've been burnt by Heaney before, and I just think Horse even said in the second quarter, he thought about throwing him forward. So we would have missed out on this huge score if Horse had just followed what he was going to do. And I think that just raises too much uncertainty and means that Heaney doesn't have that floor that we probably need him to have. So James Jordan playing that wing, half-forward, centre bounce attendance role, I think it's probably going to be more of a wing and a centre bounce than it is the half-forward where he wasn't really scoring. But I think Errol going back outside, him coming more in the middle, is only going to help him score better. So we're going to now head back up the top here, and the person that has to come in here is sexy back Sexton. Alex Sexton, you have looked good off that half bank. And what I really like about this is that, early in the season, Dimmer came out and said kind of Buderick playing that short role. He's also got Sexton in here. He had Powell in here as well. I think the three of them combined for like 26 marks or something, 25 marks. Will that happen every week? I don't think so. I think part of that was down to the opposition. Richmond fans, block your ears, but they are absolutely bang average. But I think he still presents enough value. And the coach coming in going, hey, you're a seasoned body. We want you in there. I think he's got access to points, and I think he's going to do well. So Sexton is a must pick for me. The next person is Harley Reid. Harley Reid here. And then I'm adding in Lazaro. So for me, Harley Reid I'm hit and miss on him. I'm neither 100% for, neither 100% against. I don't have the same kind of conviction as what I do with Sanders and McKercher. But I think that he looked good in the middle. He's not suited to that halfback. I think they need to have him in the middle and just let him do a year in the system, get lots of the ball or as much of it as he can, and he's going to get easier access to points there than he will off the halfback. So I think Harley Reid there. Lazaro might not get the centre bounce attendances that we thought he was going to get after the intra-club or the preseason game, whatever it was, where he went bananas. But I think he's a good enough user of the ball, bringing it forward, that they want him having hands on. So, you think about that midfield, you've got Wardlaw, Powell, who else you got? You got Will Phillips, LDU, Simpkin. I think there's lots of players in there. But I think Lazaro is primed for a breakout, and priced at 288. I think it's hard to go past Charlie Lazaro. Yeah. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what he can put up. But Charlie Lazaro is definitely in my team. And then the two rookies I've gone with are, we've gone Darcy Wilson, who is an absolute must-start, looked like an absolute jet, and is only going to be better for it, another run at it. And then the other person we are going with is Sean Manor. Now, Sean Manor might not play, in which case Sean Manor might not play, in which case we will need to look to change that up. But we do bring in Manor there. And then the other player picked here, we don't have enough salary for. So we are going to, as I said, kick out Caulfield, change this to Phillips, and then come on down here and go to Sharp. So Sharpie is going to sit in this utility spot for me. He's probably not going to end up there locked in, but he's someone that I want to get up into that midfield rotation. I'm just looking at what I can do here. If it's not Sharp, it might be someone like a... what have we got here? If I can just search, actually. A Cadman. But I don't love the idea of a Cadman, to be honest, from an AFL fantasy standpoint. I think in Supercoach he makes sense, but I just don't think that Cadman is the pick. But what we might need to look to do is change up Manor, but we'll see. We'll wait and see. This is kind of where we're at with it. So we've got Dacos, Sheasel, Whitfield, Young, Williams, and Howes on field. We've got Butters, Steele, Nick Martin, Wines, Amon, Crouch, Sanders, McKercher, Max Gawn, Grundy, Flanders, Fisher, James Jordan, Sexton, Harley Reid, and Lazaro. And if we just quickly take a look at early buy detector, let's chuck on. So we've got 1 in the second round, 2, sorry, in the second round, 3. We got 3 in the third round. 4th round, everyone plays. 5th round, we've got 3 on bye, 4 on bye, sorry, including bench players. And then 5, we've got, 6, we've got 1, 2 on bye. So, I'm not too worried about the early buys. I think we were making a big deal of them to start with. I just want to go value. I want to see what we can do. I'm going to commit to the principles and back in Selby the GOAT. So that's kind of where we're at with an AFL fantasy standpoint. Let me know what your thoughts below. How are you shaping up? It'd be interesting to see. I think in the content creator space and looking around, there's a lot of similar teams. So this isn't too Baskin and Robbins. It's a little vanilla, but there's enough in there that I think is a bit different. The addition of all of the value players gives me a bit of a difference. I think the Whitfield versus Yo might be a thing. I have seen teams with Blake Howes on the bench and a Williams there, so they're running a Buderick in this place. So it's going to be interesting. Look, you don't win the Hilux in the first opening team. You win it by trading, by making smart decisions, by looking for value and utilizing that value well. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button. It really helps out a growing channel or a new channel like mine. But thank you. We're here. We're starting. AFL Fantasy is ready to go. Supercoach is ready to go. Let's jump in. If you haven't signed up to Bolter, make sure you sign up and get a team in. You've only missed round 0, but it's still a great opportunity. And let's back in Selby. Give him some engagement. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.